Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the Storyteller's Corner. I'm your host, Joshua T. Calkins Trilogy, also known as Baron Sidious in various places online. Unlike yesterday's video, we're here in my uh, downstairs home office with my lovely collection of mythology tomes. And today's Storyteller's Perspective. A history lesson and possible explanation. Let's take a trip down memory lane, folks. It's a lovely little avenue, lined on either side of the street with beautiful oaks that sway like dancing hula girls in the balmy spring evening breeze. The rustle of leaves newly grown plays a tune that you can smile at, as it calls to simpler moments of nature's beauty. In the cozy little burb of Ago, though, not all is wonderful. There's a run-down little clapboard domicile just the other side of the railroad tracks, with rotting boards on its privacy fence, a place we have to visit. Be careful of the blue-haired pit bull chained in the yard, foam around its mouth, and the word journo emblazoned on the rusted little name tag on its collar. That fucker bites, and your insurance plan premiums spiked thanks to the passage of Obamacare. It's 2014 on this little stroll that we're taking, and 4 years back from this point, the president's nationwide repackaging of 2006's Romney Care in Massachusetts is still, quote, figuring out the bugs per Josh Earnest. Mind you, I'm paraphrasing here. If you walk up the pathway of unevenly laid concrete slabs that forms a walkway like a pirate's crooked teeth, you'll eventually reach the dilapidated front porch of this house, from which you can hear Meghan Trainor belting out that she is apparently all about that bass. There's an Amazon box on the doorstep with a faint neon green glow shining off of it. The label shows that the package is sent from someone listed as the Cultural Left and is addressed to this house's occupants, the pop culture community. The front door is yanked open as you quirk your head to one side, frowning at the box, which could clearly make a Geiger counter stand up and sing. The guy who opened the door? Why, it's Adam Baldwin, who the other residents inside loved as the goofy Jane Cobb on Joss Whedon's Firefly, and Colonel John Copface Casey on Chuck. He looks scarier than the dog that you slipped past out in the yard, and 2 years on from the cancellation of Chuck, he still looks like he could rip your head off and shit down your neck. He picks up the package, flashes you that meat-eater's predatory smile of his, and says, "Thanks," just before ducking back inside to open the box. You try to warn him to not do it, but before you know it, he has opened the box, and a shoebox-sized screen floats before him like a holographic display with the phrase #Gamergate beside a holographic send button. He taps it, and in a flash of white heat, the ever-catchy Tay-Tay's Shake It Off blaring on the sound system in the house's living room, this home of pop culture serves as ground zero for a veritable nuclear blast. Uncertain of how you survived the blast as you lay in the scorched grass of that house, watching a giant blue cartoon-like bird flap about overhead, you might notice it pass through a cloud formation in the shapes of the numbers 2024 and burst into flames like the mythical phoenix. For some reason, the legendary bird has a huge black X on its underbelly and a South African autistic genius riding on its back, but that's a vision for another time. What was Gamergate, folks? Back in 2014, a handful of people in the video games and pop culture space caught wind of a potentially salacious and underhanded series of incidents wherein an indie game dev, Zoe Quinn, used interpersonal intimate relations with several video games journos in order to generate positive buzz for her title Depression Quest. When gamers cottoned on to this behavior of back-scratching thanks to Quinn riding not her talents as a dev, but rather riding the old baloney pony to yield kudos for her game, people were not well pleased. Among those displeased people was one Adam Baldwin. Now, it's rather foggy whether or not the hashtag from hell of Gamergate was genuinely started by this man, though it's often attributed to him. But unlike the Baldwin to whom he is not related, the twitch of Adam's finger didn't result in an onset death, though it did end up doing a lot of damage. Too soon? Too bad. While the modern age of the culture war is frequently tied to the kickoff of Gamergate, and nobody can say with absolute certainty that this is the case, it can't be denied that Gamergate was a huge push for the opening days of the modern culture war. Tim Pool might try to latch on and claim credit in some way, but according to Lord Beanie, he was there on the ground at the start of every current day situation. Tell us again about the south side of Chicago, Elder Pool. He'll have to tell someone else's grandkids, since his own obsession with his career and his legacy likely precludes him doing what he suggests everybody else does, and starting a family. Poor Allison. She should just run. Anyway, I suspect a lot of what caused Gamergate supporters back then, and Gamergate 2 Electric Boogaloo fans, now to be roughly lumped together by the ideological left and the cancerous hacks in journospace, is a common thread. You see, back in 2014, an openly conservative man, Adam Baldwin, called out something that he could not truck with, something that ran counter to his sense of right and wrong. And no, it wasn't just the idea that Quinn was being raised up by being laid down. It was the complete sidestep of meritocracy in pursuit of praise and reward. Despite what Brianna Wu, Quinn, Wikipedia, and the vast majority of the left wing of the culture war would like us all to think, that Gamergates 1 and 2 are nothing more than, to quote the hilariously biased website in question, harassment campaigns. They are, I hypothesize, the manifestation of people's genuine and righteous fury with those who would gleefully apply double standards against them, whilst bilking the economies of both attention and money through lazy and slapdash trickery, rather than deserving products and services. Quinn's Depression Quest wasn't a game made for entertainment. It was a piece of autobiographical art in the vague form of a text-based interactive fiction. If she had just owned up to that from the word go, instead of cozying up to Nathan Grayson of Kotaku for positive coverage of her work, we all could have shrugged our shoulders and said, meh, whatever. Some artsy chick got a, stick in her craw. Whatever. As for Kotaku's internal investigation of that particular fiasco, I would liken it unto the government investigating itself for its role in JFK's demise. No, we looked into it and we totally didn't do anything wrong here, folks. It's a really good show. Damn it, Johnson, put that fucking rifle away. Anyhow. And how grimly amusing is it that Kotaku, so much involved in Gamergate 1, now finds themselves once again leaping to the defense of the talentless hacks causing problems in the industry once again, and insulting and deriding the customers. How liberal/progressive blue is Kotaku? Bluer than Cookie Monster's balls if he saw a 12-pack of chocolate chip cookies on sale for $1.99 and he only has 7 quarters in his pockets. The genre fiction nobody just hit you with a fucking math joke. Put the goddamn phone away and do the mental calculations yourself. For God's sakes, my 11-year-old kid can do that one and have a laugh. The meritless, I'm a victim, you have to support my low-quality, virtue-signaling contribution in the arena of your hobbies, or be ceaselessly labeled a bigot and a chud crowd, versus the, no, we're the customers, we want well-crafted pieces of art that don't actively denigrate and lecture us, and actually possess some artistic merit and demonstrable talent and effort crowd. That's what Gamergate 1 was. That's what Gamergate 2 is. It's weird, but the very same crowd that helped kill Star Wars in the modern era never bothered to learn one of its creators' greatest lessons. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does sort of rhyme. Cheers.